Do you ever stop and think that maybe our expectations are just a little too high? I mean, we've read some amazing comics in our lives, and even if you're new to comics, you probably have gone back and read some of the classic stories. I mean, hell, you've been able to pick through 40, 50, 60 years worth of comics, be able to pick out the very best recommendations, fall in love with it, and then wonder why those that same quality is not here every single week. Maybe the expectations are just a bit too high for everyone concerned. Hey everybody, this is Perch. This is going to come out sarcastic, and maybe part of it is, but just consider this for a second for everybody concerned. Because if you kind of take a step back, you look at everyone. I think that there's expectations that we have for creators, for the publishers, for the comic shop owners and people, for the fans that are just. I mean, we should all try and be our very best people, living our very best life, but some of these things might be a little bit unrealistic at the comic shop right now. I see a lot of comments saying, well, the comic shop owners should have their entire library digitized. They should have already distributed their content, so they're not reliant on Diamond or comics or any one thing, and they should be in that shop and have it clean and welcome new customers in and also service the old customers and everything else. I'm just pointing out that not everybody is good at that. I've done some videos in the past. If you're fairly new to the channel, basically saying maybe you're not cut out to run a comic book shop, because a lot of people come into comic book shops as comic book fans. They love reading it. What they lack is business fundamentals. So I think you have to ask yourself these questions. If you took an MBA class, do you think you could pass it? If not, maybe running a business is not for you. Do you like technology? Do you like the idea of waking up and putting your inventory into a database of some kind so you can sell it online and keep track of your store inventory? Do you like a cash register? Are you fearful of money? If some of those questions go the wrong way, you shouldn't open a comic shop. And maybe when we assume that every single comic shop is a master of business, that's an expectation we shouldn't have. There's a lot of people who entered into this as fans running kind of a mom and pop simple shop, and it's just this stuff is largely beyond them. And right now they're just trying to survive, kind of month to month. And if that's a business they want to run and that's what they're comfortable with, that's their life. Expecting them to suddenly become you know you know leaders on Shark Tank. You know what? Do you ever watch that show? I always feel like everyone is stupid in that show. Like the masters of business. So now I get that Mark Cuban and others are they made a lot of money and everything else, but they all seem like dopes. Like the editing of that show does nobody any favors. Like nobody comes off looking good, for me anyway. Um, and on the comic book retailers, or sorry, comic book publisher side and the creator side, I mean, I had this conversation with a writer who, every now and then kind of tips me off to, hey, you should consider this, you should consider that. And so I posted this little clip of Green Arrow, and it's for a video. I'm not sure where this will fall with that video, but it's basically for a little video talking about DC Universe decisions. This is from number 3, and it's where Ollie, Green Arrow, basically goes, "You can't trust the media; they don't know what they're doing." And it's like from 2008, and it's funny. So I post this little thing, and it gets a bunch of likes because it's topical. And this writer's like, "You really shouldn't post stuff like that. The clear and present danger is Trump. We have to get rid of Trump. And by posting that stuff, making fun of the media, it's like you're letting Trump off the hook." And I responded back like, "Look, I'm not a big Trump fan. I'm not. We could get into that another time. Maybe on the election day, we'll just drink a lot of whiskey and I'll just talk about how I hate everyone. That's pretty established at this point, I think. But I'm not a big fan of Trump, but I also think that the media is crappy. I mean, I think you can say two things are bad at once. I think you can say the media is bad without losing track of whatever you're trying to do. Now, in full disclosure, I am not out campaigning for Biden. I think he sucks too. So I'm not one of those that like we got to get rid of Trump because there's a much better option. I'm like both these options are pretty terrible. I'm sorry, I know I'm getting all the downvotes now. I'm just speaking from my heart, man. That's all I'm doing here. So, but this writer's like, no, people, really, we can only keep our focus on one thing at a time. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, you shouldn't be writing comics. Like, you should be writing superheroes. You certainly shouldn't be writing more than one comic, and you're trying to do two monthly comics or more. Like, if you don't have the capacity to say, I think the media is kind of crappy, and I also don't like this politician, if that is beyond you, I mean, again, like, how are you going about your day? Like, as people, we have the capacity to think about two things at once. And so maybe when we talk about comic creators and publishers, that we put them up on this pedestal like they are genius writers who can do no wrong. And the reality is everybody is human. There's people who wrote great stories and people who written stinker stories. I mean, everybody's going to make a mistake. I make them multiple times a day. The more videos I publish, the more mistakes get made public. That People make mistakes, and I think sometimes we kind of assume that this creator is going to have the same kind of morals and understanding and wisdom as the heroes they're writing, and they clearly do not. Some do. I met some really bright, wonderful people, many. Um, but there's also some dummies out there, and it's like we should not expect that just because they're writing Superman, that they are wise and good. Uh, I mean, Bendis writes Superman. I mean, you know how we, I mean, I'm just saying. I always wonder, by the way, these people who are like, I can't think of two things at once. I can't mentally grasp the idea of two things at the same time. Like, this is going to be a little crude. I apologize, but if you're a guy and you've gone into the bathroom, have you ever noticed that sometimes you go into the bathroom and it's nice and clean, and other times you step up to that urinal and it looks like a just fire hydrant, just splattered stuff everywhere? I always look at that. I'm like, who is unable to, who is missing this target? Like, the urinal's this giant target. It's not a small target. It's huge. It's like what, like 3 feet by a foot? I mean, it's a large thing. And if you're not able to aim and hit that target, if instead you're like, spraying at 90 degrees away from the target or all over the floor, I have to conclude you're either drunk or you're, got some mental problems. Um, Actually, that's probably about it. Like, otherwise, there's no excuse for that. You pee in the toilet, Jesus. But whenever I see somebody like going, let's not lose track from Trump. We can't talk about how the media, we can't talk about two things at once. It will confuse everybody. I'm always thinking, you're one of those people that pees all over the floor. And now that I've told this story, you will as well. Anyway, and then finally, the fans. Okay, I think that fans at sometimes also have too high of expectations. It's like, hey, you're a fan of this comic, you're a customer of this comic, and yet, you should remember all of our continuity, and you should be fair and balanced. If this comic is bad and you dislike it, it doesn't matter. You should still, praise it and look for the good parts in this. And maybe this person's just reading a comic, in like 5 minutes and then going on about their life. We're putting too high of expectations that some of the fans are, genius literary critics who have a wealth of background comic knowledge to tap into and are going to be fair and unbiased with every single thing they read. I mean, humans are made up of biases. That's not a bad thing. That's a normal thing. Like, we walk around, we make decisions in our life. There's no such thing as a person who walks around with no judgment about anything. That is not true. Everybody has a judgment. The difference between a good person and a crazy person is the good person will know that their judgments should not preclude them from being a productive member of society. And the crazy person takes their judgment as absolute and just starts inflicting it on everyone else. That's the difference. But it's not true to say that people just have no decision making process, no judgment. So if you're going to read a comic, you're going to like it, you're going to hate it for whatever the crazy reason, and there shouldn't be this expectation that fans have to remain godlike neutral to everything. I try and present a fair picture here, but I clearly have my own opinions, and they're out there, and I realize my opinions are not the most popular. If I'd like this channel to triple in size, I could either go, way more investment of time and start doing the comics plain thing, show my face. Actually, showing my face would reduce the subscribers pretty significantly, I'm pretty sure. Or I can go pure on rage. Pure outrage is what, try and get a little bit funnier, try and get some better roast material. I mean, that would, but I'm only human. I'm just babbling into the phone at this point. At any rate, this is a bit of tongue-in-cheek video. I'm just saying that maybe we all have just too high of an expectations of each other. And the next time you go to the grocery store, you're in your Safeway, your Publix, your wherever you happen to be, and you're walking around, you're seeing that guy who's standing there, and he's got the bag, and he's trying to open up the bag. He tore the bag from at the vegetable area, and so he's taking it off the roll, and he's trying to find where the opening is, and he's kind of spending like 2 minutes trying to get that thing open. Maybe that's a comic shop owner. Maybe that's a comic book writer or artist. Maybe that's a fan. That person struggling with that bag. I'm just saying, we're all human. That's it. Anyway, hey, have a good day, everybody. Thanks for listening.